The year was 2157. Humans had just started to build homes on Mars and Europa when giant alien ships appeared above Earth. These were not small ships. Each one was the size of a large city, blocking the sun and casting shadows on the land below. Captain Alan Wright stood on the bridge of the EDF Defender, Earth's largest space vessel. Even so, the Defender was tiny compared to the alien ships. Alan wiped sweat from his forehead as he watched the main screen. His brown eyes narrowed as he studied the strange designs on the alien hulls. "Status report," he said to his crew. "Sir, we're getting signals from the lead ship," said Communications Officer Grace Miller. Her fingers moved quickly over her console. "They're broadcasting in... Wait, that's impossible. They're using English, Spanish, Mandarin, and 50 other Earth languages at once." The main screen flickered. A face appeared. The alien had blue skin, large eyes with no pupils, and a mouth that seemed too wide for its narrow face. It wore what looked like ceremonial robes with strange symbols. "People of Earth," the alien said. "I am Ambassador Zor Thul of the Galactic Council. We have been watching your development for centuries. The time has come for formal contact. We request an immediate meeting with your world leaders." Within hours, the United Nations called an emergency meeting. Representatives from all nations gathered in New York. The alien ambassador and 6 others from different species teleported directly into the assembly hall, causing a brief panic until security forces were told to stand down. President Samantha Cole, a tall woman with silver hair and a reputation for staying calm in crisis, approached the podium. "Ambassador Zor Thul, on behalf of humanity, we welcome you to Earth." The blue alien bowed slightly. "President Cole, the Council appreciates your welcome. However, we must discuss urgent matters." His voice had an odd echo to it, as if multiple voices were speaking at once. "Your planet sits at a critical junction in space. We need access to this region for our continued expansion." Defense Secretary Elizabeth Morgan leaned toward the president and whispered something. Elizabeth was known for her caution and strategic mind. She had served in the military for 30 years before taking her current role. President Cole nodded slightly before addressing the ambassador again. "We are open to discussing peaceful cooperation and trade." Zor Thul made a gesture that might have been a smile, though it didn't reach his eyes. "According to ancient council law, newly discovered species must pay tribute to join our community. This is how it has been done for over 10,000 years with hundreds of species." A murmur ran through the assembly hall. "What kind of tribute?" President Cole asked, her voice still steady, though her hands gripped the podium tightly. 30% of your planet's mineral resources, delivered annually to council ships," Zor Thul said, "and 10,000 humans per year for cultural exchange programs." Dr. Richard Hayes, Earth's leading expert in language and communication, with a reputation for understanding hidden meanings, passed a note to Secretary Morgan. His face was grim. "This cultural exchange," Secretary Morgan said, standing up. "Could you explain exactly what that entails?" Another alien, this one with scales and 4 arms, stepped forward. "Your people would serve as ambassadors, learning our ways and helping us understand yours." Dr. Hayes shook his head slightly at Secretary Morgan. "And how long would these ambassadors serve?" Morgan pressed. "Standard council terms are 20 of your Earth years," the scaled alien replied. President Cole kept her face neutral. "Ambassador Zor Thul, this is a significant request. We will need time to consider." "Of course," the blue alien said. "The council gives you 7 Earth days to decide. This is most generous. Some species are only given hours." He paused. "I should mention that species who refuse to join the council must face containment protocols." "Containment?" President Cole asked. "For the safety of the galactic community, non-compliant worlds are returned to a pre-industrial state," Zor Thul explained. "This is rarely necessary. Most species see the wisdom in joining us." After the aliens left, the Earth leaders remained in emergency session. "They're threatening to bomb us back to the Stone Age," Secretary Morgan said, pacing the floor. "And these cultural exchanges," Dr. Hayes added. "I studied their language patterns. They're hiding something. The terms they used suggest forced labor, not diplomatic roles. President Cole turned to intelligence analyst Kevin Foster, a young man with thick glasses who rarely spoke unless he had important information. "What have you found?" Foster projected data onto the main screen. "I cross-referenced their ship markings with astronomical observations from the past century. We've seen these ships before, at a distance, near other star systems. Each time they appeared, communication with our deep space probes in those systems stopped shortly after." "They've done this before," Secretary Morgan concluded. "We need to activate the Sleeping Giant Protocol," Captain Wright said from the video link where he joined from orbit. The room went silent. The Sleeping Giant Protocol was Earth's most classified contingency plan, created after the recovery of alien technology in the mid-20th century. President Cole closed her eyes briefly, then nodded. "Do it. We have 7 days to prepare." She turned to the assembly. "As far as the Council knows, we're considering their offer. Meanwhile, every defense system we have goes online. We're not giving them our planet or our people." In orbit, Captain Wright sent a coded message to Earth's hidden defense network. Across the planet, military bases went to high alert. In underground facilities, scientists and engineers began activating technologies the public didn't know existed. Dr. Hayes continued studying the Council's communications, looking for weaknesses. "They don't expect us to say no," he told President Cole. "No one has refused them in thousands of years." "Then they're in for a surprise," Cole replied, "because Earth doesn't surrender." As the alien ships loomed in orbit, humanity quietly prepared for the most important week in its history. The countdown to their answer had begun. The next morning, while the alien ships stayed in orbit, Earth put on a show. News channels reported that world leaders were meeting to discuss the Council's offer. In public, humans seemed afraid and unsure. But behind closed doors, a different story was playing out. Admiral Paul Carter stood in a huge underground room that few people knew existed. The room was 100 feet below the ocean floor in the middle of the Pacific. Giant screens showed maps of Earth and the solar system. Red dots marked the positions of the alien ships. "The Sleeping Giant Protocol is now active," Admiral Carter said to the military leaders from around the world. He was an older man with a scar on his cheek from a war long ago. "We have 6 days before we must give our answer to the Council." Secretary Morgan stepped forward. "For 70 years we've been preparing for this day. Since the first alien ship crashed in the desert in the 1950s, we've been learning and building in secret." On a large center table, a hologram appeared showing hidden defense systems throughout the solar system. "The Council thinks we only have a few small ships and basic weapons," Morgan continued. "They don't know about our real technology." Chief Engineer Susan Wright, Captain Alan Wright's sister, pressed buttons on a tablet. A new image appeared showing thousands of small objects in the outer solar system. "These look like normal asteroids to any scanner," Susan explained. "But they are actually our automated defense platforms. Each one has enough power to disable a Council ship." Around the room, people nodded. The secret of Earth's hidden defenses had been kept even from most of their own people. Only a few thousand humans knew the truth. Earth had been preparing for alien contact for decades, keeping their most advanced technology hidden to avoid detection. In another part of the underground base, Lisa Johnson, the head of Earth Intelligence, met with her team. They studied records and data stolen from the Council's computer systems. "Look at this," Lisa said, pointing to a star map. "These 7 species were all listed as thriving civilizations 300 years ago. Now the Council records mark them as extinct." "What happened to them?" asked an analyst. "According to these records, they all accepted Council integration," Lisa said. Her voice was flat. "Within 50 years, each species was gone. Their home planets are now listed as Council resource worlds. Meanwhile, Major John Davis led a team of special forces on a dangerous mission. Using technology reverse-engineered from crashed alien ships, they teleported onto one of the smaller Council vessels in orbit. They wore suits that made them invisible to the ship's sensors. "Move fast, stay quiet," Major Davis whispered to his team. He was a strong man with dark skin and calm eyes. "We need to learn everything we can about their weapons and defenses." The team moved through the alien ship. placing tiny devices on key systems. These devices scanned and sent data back to Earth. When an alien crew member walked nearby, the humans stood still, their suits hiding them from view. Back on Earth, scientists Olivia Baker and George Martinez worked in a lab deep under the Rocky Mountains. They were finishing the activation codes for Earth's defense grid. If the Council attacks, these codes will wake up every defense platform at once, Olivia explained to President Cole, who had come to check their progress. Olivia pushed her red hair from her face as she worked. George nodded. We're also updating the shields for our cities. The technology we got from the crashed ships in Argentina and Russia helped us create energy shields that should stop most of their weapons. President Cole looked at the work and nodded. Good. Keep going. We need everything ready before we give our answer. On the 5th day, as Earth continued to pretend it was considering the Council's demand, the alien ships moved closer to the planet. Their sensors scanned cities and military bases, but found only what humans wanted them to see: basic weapons and frightened people. In Geneva, Switzerland, the Council had set up a formal meeting chamber for Earth's answer. It was full of strange technology and symbols of Council power. Captain Alan Wright joined President Cole and Secretary Morgan as they prepared for the meeting. Major Davis's team just returned, Alan said quietly. We now know the weaknesses in their shield systems. If they attack, we can hit them where it hurts. And the defense grid? President Cole asked. Ready, Alan confirmed. Susan says every platform is online and waiting for the signal. Secretary Morgan's face was serious. The Council expects us to say yes. No species has refused them in over 8,000 years, according to Dr. Hayes's research. They're in for a surprise, President Cole said. She straightened her jacket. I've spoken with every nation on Earth. We are united on this. We will not give them our people or our resources. What if they attack? Alan asked. President Cole's eyes were hard. Then they'll learn why humans have survived on this planet through ice ages, plagues, and our own wars. We don't give up easily. Around the world, military forces moved into position, hiding their true strength. In space, Earth's small official fleet prepared for their role in what might come. Underground, millions of civilians moved into shelters, built for this purpose, though most believed they were just taking part in a drill. As the 7th day dawned, Earth was ready. The Council representatives prepared for the formal meeting, expecting Earth's surrender. They did not know that humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. President Cole, Secretary Morgan, and Captain Wright entered the Council's chamber in Geneva. Their faces showed nothing of their plans. It was time for humanity's answer. The Council chamber in Geneva was filled with light and strange smells. Aliens from 12 different species stood in rows wearing fancy clothes. Holograms showed the faces of hundreds more alien leaders watching from their ships in distant worlds. High Chancellor Vexamora stood on a raised platform. He was taller than Ambassador Zorthul, with darker blue skin and gold patterns on his face. 4 guards with strange weapons stood behind him. The Great Council welcomes the representatives of Earth, Vexamora said. His voice boomed through the chamber. For 10,000 years, we have guided younger species into the galactic community. Today, Earth will join hundreds of worlds under our protection. President Cole walked forward with Secretary Morgan and Captain Wright beside her. They looked small next to the aliens, but they walked with straight backs and steady eyes. High Chancellor, President Cole said, we thank you for this meeting. Around the room, translation devices hummed. Some alien species clicked or whistled to each other. Many seemed curious about the humans. Vexamora raised his 6-fingered hands. The terms are clear. In exchange for Council protection and technology, Earth will provide 30% of its mineral resources and 10,000 humans each year. He looked down at President Cole. These terms are generous by Council standards. Some worlds give much more. President Cole nodded politely. We understand the terms. Good, Vexamora said. He seemed pleased. The ships are ready to collect the first group of humans and begin resource extraction. What is humanity's answer? The room went quiet. Every alien eye watched the humans. In orbit, Council ships prepared to receive Earth's tribute. On screens, around the world, billions of humans watched, holding their breath. President Cole stood tall. She looked directly at Vexamora and spoke a single word. No. For a moment, nothing happened. The translation devices made different sounds as they shared the message with all species in the room. Then chaos broke out. Aliens started talking at once. Some laughed, thinking it was a joke they didn't understand. Others looked worried or angry. Vexmora's face changed color, becoming a darker blue. I don't understand. No one refuses the council. I believe I was clear, President Cole said calmly. Humanity's answer is no. An alien with tentacles instead of arms pushed forward. They don't understand. Explain the consequences again. Vexmora raised his hand for quiet. President Cole, perhaps our translators failed. If Earth refuses to join the council, we must activate containment protocols. Your civilization will be reset to pre-industrial levels. Billions will die. Your cities will burn. Secretary Morgan stepped forward. We understand perfectly. Humanity does not pay tribute. We will not give you our people or our resources. We join as equals or not at all. Captain Wright nodded. The people of Earth have made their decision. We choose freedom. Vexmora couldn't hide his shock. No species has refused in 8,000 years. The Council's power is absolute. Not on Earth, President Cole said. The High Chancellor's eyes narrowed. You have made a terrible mistake. The Council has ended civilizations older and more advanced than yours. We had hoped to welcome you peacefully, but now you will serve as an example to others. He turned to his guards. Return to the ships. Begin containment procedures immediately. As the aliens left the chamber, Captain Wright touched a small device on his wrist. It sent a signal to Admiral Carter in the underwater command center. The signal was simple. They said no. Outside, the council representatives boarded their ships. They were angry but not worried. They had dealt with uncooperative species before. Their ships had weapons that could destroy cities in seconds. They expected Earth to surrender as soon as the first bombs fell. In orbit, the council fleet spread out. 200 warships positioned themselves above major cities. Their weapons began to glow as they charged. On the council command ship, High Chancellor Vexmora watched a screen showing Earth below. Begin with their capital cities, he ordered. Once they see Washington destroyed, they will beg to join us. But as the council ships prepared to fire, something unexpected happened. All across the solar system, the asteroids that had been floating quietly began to move. Thousands of hidden defense platforms activated at once. In the underwater command center, Admiral Carter gave the order. Operation Sleeping Giant is go. All units, engage the enemy. The first wave of council ships suddenly lost power as electromagnetic pulses hit them from multiple directions. Their weapons went dark and their engines failed. On his ship, Vexmora watched in horror as dozens of his vessels went silent. What is happening? How do they have this technology? Ambassador Zorthul looked at the readings on his screen. The asteroids. They're not asteroids. They're weapons platforms. More council ships lost power. Some began to drift out of orbit. Others tried to fire at the defense platforms but couldn't lock onto the fast-moving targets. On Earth, President Cole and her team had reached a secure bunker. Captain Wright joined a video call with Admiral Carter. The first phase is working, Carter reported. 57 council ships disabled. No shots fired at Earth. Good, President Cole said. Now for Phase 2. Captain Wright nodded. Major Davis, you're up. On the disabled council ships, something strange began to happen. Humans in advanced battle suits appeared out of nowhere. After studying council technology for days, Major Davis and his teams knew exactly how to take control of key systems. Remember, Major Davis told his soldiers, disable weapons first, then communications. No killing unless absolutely necessary. The council crews were completely surprised. Most had never seen actual combat. Their species had relied on fear and superior technology for so long that they didn't know how to fight back. In the command center, Admiral Carter watched as more and more council ships went dark. "They never expected us to fight," he said. "They thought we would just give up." Secretary Morgan smiled slightly. "They don't understand humans very well." As the battle continued in orbit, High Chancellor Vex Mora realized something terrible. For the first time in thousands of years, the Council was losing. On the Council flagship, High Chancellor Vex Mora watched his fleet fall into chaos. More than half of his ships had lost power or been boarded by humans. The rest were trying to fight back against the asteroid defense platforms, but failing. "This is impossible," Vex Mora said, his blue skin now pale with fear. "They're just humans." "Chancellor," said a crew member. "3 ships are approaching from Earth." 3 human ships appeared on the main screen. They were much smaller than the Council vessels, but moved quickly and with purpose. The ship in the lead was the EDF Defender, commanded by Captain Linda Rodriguez. Linda was a short woman with a scar above her right eye. She had fought in wars on Earth and now commanded Earth's fastest ship. "All weapons ready," she ordered her crew. "Target the flagship's engines and shield generators only." The EDF Defender and its 2 sister ships fired strange blue beams at the Council flagship. The beams passed right through the alien shields as if they weren't there. "How did they bypass our shields?" Vex Mora shouted. "Those are the most advanced shields in the galaxy." Ambassador Zorthol looked at the sensor readings. "They're using quantum phase technology. It's theoretical. No species has ever made it work before." The human ships fired again. This time the beams hit the flagship's engines. The huge alien ship began to drift, its main power failing. In Washington, D.C., Dr. William Cook sat in a lab surrounded by screens and strange equipment. He was an older man with glasses and white hair. For 30 years, he had worked on a single project, the Quantum Communication Disruptor. "Activation sequence complete," Dr. Cook said to President Cole over a secure line. "The disruptor is online." "President." Cole nodded. "Do it." Dr. Cook pressed a series of buttons. Across Earth, huge antennas pointed toward space. They sent invisible waves that targeted the Council ship's communication systems. In space, chaos turned to panic for the Council forces. Suddenly, they couldn't talk to each other. Each ship was alone. "We've lost all contact with the fleet," a Council officer told Vex Mora. "We can't coordinate our attacks." On Earth, Admiral Carter watched the battle from the underwater command center. "Phase 3, he ordered. "Captain Rodriguez, board the flagship and capture Vex Mora." Linda Rodriguez and her team teleported onto the Council flagship. Like Major Davis's teams, they wore suits that made them hard to see on alien sensors. They moved quickly through the ship, heading for the command center. When they reached the main door, Linda set a small device against it. The door slid open and the humans rushed inside with weapons ready. High Chancellor Vex Mora and his officers turned in shock. They had never expected humans to reach them here. "Don't move," Linda ordered. Her weapon pointed at Vex Mora. "High Chancellor, you are now a prisoner of Earth." Vex Mora's hands shook. "This is not possible. You're just a level 3 species. You shouldn't have this technology." Linda smiled slightly. "We've been preparing for this day for a long time." Across the solar system, the battle turned more and more in humanity's favor. Earth's disguised defense platforms disabled Council ships one by one. Human special forces took control of key vessels. The quantum disruptor kept the Council fleet from working together, but the Council still had powerful weapons. A group of ships managed to break through Earth's defenses and move to attack the planet. They fired energy weapons at cities below. In New York, people looked up in fear as energy beams came down from space. But then something amazing happened. The beams hit what looked like an invisible wall and stopped. In the Rocky Mountain lab, Olivia Baker and George Martinez watched their screens closely. "City shields holding at 90%, Olivia reported. "The aliens can't get through." George nodded. Every major city on Earth is protected. The smaller towns too. Nothing is getting through our shields. The Council ships fired again and again, using more and more power. But Earth's shields, built using technology from crashed alien ships, held strong. On the Council flagship, Linda Rodriguez forced Vex Mora to send a message to his remaining ships. "This is High Chancellor Vex Mora. All ships cease fire immediately. I repeat, cease all attacks." Slowly, the Council ships still under their own control stopped firing. The battle wasn't over, but the immediate danger to Earth had passed. In Geneva, President Cole spoke to the people of Earth. "The attack has been stopped," she said. Her face was tired but determined. For the first time in their long history, the Council has failed to conquer a world that said no to them. Around the planet, people cheered. They had been afraid, but now they felt hope. Earth had stood up to the bullies of the galaxy and won. In orbit, captured Council officers watched in shock as humans in spacesuits repaired damaged systems on their ships. They had never seen anything like it. "How did you do this?" an alien captain asked Major Davis. "How did you beat us?" Major Davis didn't look up from the control panel he was fixing. "You thought we would just give up. But humans don't surrender. When threatened, we fight harder." On the flagship, Ambassador Zorthul spoke quietly to Linda Rodriguez. "Not all of us agreed with the tribute system," he admitted. "Some of us have argued for centuries that it is wrong." Linda looked at him with surprise. "Then why didn't you stop it?" "The Council has ruled for 10,000 years, Zorthul said. "No one dared to challenge them, until now." Back on Earth, President Cole met with her advisors. "The battle is won, but the war isn't over," she said. "The Council has hundreds more ships that could come here." Secretary Morgan nodded. "But now they know we can fight back, and we've captured their leader. That gives us room to negotiate." In space, stars shone down on a changed solar system. Human ships moved among disabled Council vessels. The word was spreading throughout the galaxy. Earth had said no to the Council and had won the first battle. Everything was about to change. 3 days after what people now called the Battle of Terra, ships from many different alien worlds arrived at the edge of the solar system. These were not warships. They were diplomatic vessels carrying representatives from Council member species. "They want to talk," Admiral Carter told President Cole. "Over 30 species have sent ships." Earth's leaders gathered in the rebuilt United Nations Hall in New York. The room had been damaged during the battle but was quickly fixed. Blue force fields now protected the building from space. High Chancellor Vex Mora sat in a chair, guarded by Earth soldiers. He looked smaller now, less powerful. His fancy robes were gone. He wore simple clothes given to him by humans. Ambassador Zorthul stood with a group of aliens from different species. Some had scales, others fur. Some had many eyes or arms. All looked nervous. "The Council has existed for 10,000 years, Zorthul said. In all that time, no species has ever defeated our forces in battle. What happened here has sent shockwaves through the galaxy." President Cole nodded. "We didn't want war. We simply refused to be treated as less than equals." A tall alien with green skin stepped forward. "I am Speaker Nal of the Poloni. For 3,000 years we have paid tribute to the Council. Seeing you stand against them gives us hope." Other aliens nodded or made sounds of agreement. "The tribute system must end," President Cole said. "Not just for humans, but for all species." She walked to a large screen and touched it. Pictures appeared showing alien workers in terrible conditions. "We found these records on your ships. This is what happens to the cultural exchange workers. Isn't it? They become slaves." The room went quiet. Many of the alien representatives looked down or away. "Yes," Zorthul admitted. "Most species never learn the truth. The Council takes their people and sends them to work in mines or factories far from home." President Cole turned to face the alien representatives. "Earth proposes a new way forward. A true galactic alliance where all species are equal. No tributes, no slaves, just cooperation and fair trade." From his chair, Vex Mora laughed. It was a harsh sound. "You think you can change 10,000 years of history with one battle? The Central Council will send more ships, thousands more. Your little victory will mean nothing. Captain Wright stepped forward. Maybe. But now every species knows that the Council can be defeated. And we're willing to share our defense technology with anyone who joins us. This caused excited whispers among the alien representatives. It's time for change, President Cole said. Will you join us? One by one, the alien representatives came. Forward, Speaker Nall was first. The Poloni stand with Earth. Others followed. The Drav joined the Alliance. The Zith joined the Alliance. The Moral joined the Alliance. By the end, 27 species had declared support for Earth's plan. The other representatives said they needed to consult their governments but seemed interested. Dr. Hayes worked with Ambassador Zorthul to write a new galactic charter. It would replace the old council laws with fair rules for all species. The first rule, Dr. Hayes said, is that no sentient being may be forced to serve another. No more tributes. No more slaves. Zorthul nodded as he wrote. For centuries, some of us have pushed for these changes. We were always overruled by the High Chancellor and the Central Council. Not anymore, Dr. Hayes said. 1 week later, Captain Wright led the first official human diplomatic mission. His ship, the EDF Defender, traveled to the main council world. Using technology found on the captured alien vessels, 50 alien diplomats from worlds that had joined the new alliance traveled with him. Many had never dared to visit the council homeworld before without bringing tribute. When they arrived, thousands of aliens filled the streets. News of Earth's stand against the council had spread throughout the galaxy. Some were afraid, but many were hopeful. In a great hall built thousands of years ago, Captain Wright spoke to representatives from hundreds of worlds. Some were council loyalists who glared with anger. Others watched with interest or excitement. Earth did not want war, Captain Wright said. We simply refuse to be treated as lesser beings. We refuse to give up our people to slavery. We refuse the tribute system that has kept so many worlds under control for too long. He paused and looked around the room. Today, we offer a different path. A galactic alliance of equals. No species above another. No tributes. No slavery. Just cooperation, trade, and respect. The hall erupted in noise. Some aliens shouted in anger. Others cheered. Change had come to the galaxy, and there was no going back. 1 year later, people gathered in Geneva, where the council had first made their demands. A simple stone monument stood in the square. On it was carved humanity's one-word response that had changed everything. No. Below it, new words had been added. From this day forward, no sentient being shall be subjugated by another. We stand as equals among the stars. The old council was gone. In its place, the Galactic Alliance grew stronger each day as more species joined. Some by choice, others after their people overthrew council loyalist governments. Earth ships now traveled freely between the stars, welcomed on most worlds. Human technology combined with alien knowledge created new possibilities for all. In her office in Washington, President Cole looked at a map of the galaxy on her wall. Small lights showed Alliance worlds in green, former council strongholds in red. The green lights were spreading. Was it worth it? Secretary Morgan asked, standing beside her. We could have lost everything. President Cole nodded. Freedom is always worth fighting for. Not just for us, but for everyone. In space, Captain, Wright's ship approached a newly discovered world. The people there were just developing their first space program. In the old days, the Council would have demanded tribute from them. Instead, Captain Wright sent a simple message. Greetings from the Galactic Alliance. We come in peace as equals. As his ship entered orbit, he remembered that day in Geneva when everything changed. When humanity stunned the galaxy with a single word, the word that had started a revolution, no.